So this video is for Lash Lift, and we are starting as we first arrive to work. So when we get to work, the first thing that we're going to do before we set up our room is wash our hands. So we wash our hands at the sink, turn the water on, wet our hands, get a dime size of liquid hand soap. We rub our hands together down to our wrists. We rub the back of our hands together down to our wrists. We rub our fingers together, washing our fingers, backs of our fingers, between our fingers and our thumbs, fingertips and nails. We wash our thumbs. We wash our wrists. We wash our thumbs. When we do all of that hand wash for a minimum of 20 to 30 seconds, then we do a proper rinse under the sink. We grab some disposable paper towels, turn off the water with those towels, thoroughly dry our hands, throw them away, throw the paper towels away, and grab our hand sanitizer, 70% ethyl alcohol, and we sanitize our hands. Now, the first thing that we're gonna do is get ready for our client before they arrive. We're gonna make sure that we have the things that we need and that our room is ready. So let's talk about preparing for your client for a lash lift. So we're gonna disinfect our workstation, bed, and equipment using a disinfectant wipe, following the manufacturer's instructions. We'll check equipment to ensure that all devices are in safe working order and plugged into a working receptacle. We'll dispense our products needed for the service. We will prepare disposable portion cups for each product with a portion of the product by opening the top of the container and ensuring the tip of the nozzle does not come into contact with the disposable portion cup tray, or remove the product with a disinfected or clean single-use spatula. Then we'll close the lid of the product and set the portion cup tray on the tray. We'll drape the facial bed using one fitted sheet, one flat sheet, and 3 towels. We'll place clean laundered sheets down on the disinfected facial bed, placing a towel horizontally at the head of the bed. We'll lay a hairnet and a headband on top of the first towel, along with a roll towel to support the head and neck of the client. We'll save the third towel to lay across the client's décolleté. Or you can use a disposable table paper to drape the bed. So we've done that, and then let's talk about what we have on our tray that is ready for our lash lift. So we have a pair of disposable gloves, we have cotton rounds, we have our iPads, and we have like a Vaseline type product to put underneath the iPad to stay on. We have our eye makeup remover. We have our lash lift, technical term. We'll call it a lash lift lotion. And then of course we have our lash lift tool with our rods. And then of course we have our setting lotion. We have a little lash glue that will help our lashes go to the rod. We've got disposable applicators to apply these different things. And then I have little pads here to cover her eyes up when we are doing our setting lotion portion. We have water. So we have just some gauze squares. We have some extra things. So we are good to go. Our tray is set up and ready. And now we have to do a client consultation because our client is here and we want to make sure that we can actually perform this service on the client. So what we're going to do is we will meet our client, greet them, and escort them to the work area. We're going to assess the client's current style and determine the client's preferences. We're going to assess the client's needs. We'll assess the client's skin by performing a skin analysis to ensure that there is no inflamed, infected, broken, raised, or swollen skin in the area to be worked on, or an open wound or sore in the area to be worked on, infection or infestation, for example, lice, to prevent from safely performing the service. We'll assess the client's consultation form for any medications and products used within the last 72 hours. We'll consult on any known allergies. We'll consult with the client on any facial surgeries within the last 3 months, and if the client is under a physician's care. We'll assess if the client is prone to cold sores or fever blisters. We'll assess if the client has used exfoliating or lightening agents within the last 72 hours, like alpha hydroxy acids, beta hydroxy acids, hydroquinone, etc. We'll assess facial injections within the last 3 weeks, like Botox or hyaluronic fillers. And if the client is free from any of those contraindications, we can move forward with the procedure. And luckily, she is. Now, I didn't say this before, but I would never meet with a client without washing my hands. So I did set my room up, but I want you to know that I met my client with clean hands. Of course, I'm going to wash them again before the service. But let's get her comfortable in the bed before we move forward. So we'll give her a moment of privacy to get down on the bed, get covers. And then we will tuck her in. And then we're going to get that rolled towel under her neck. We've got our towel horizontally at the top. We're going to get her hair out of the way. So we've got a little headband right here that we're going to apply to her. And then we are going to make sure the hair's out of the way. We are going to place this additional towel on her. So we cover her clothing up and everything. Just don't want to get anything on her body or clothing. Don't want to drop anything, harm anything of hers. So she's comfortable. And now we can wash our hands to get ready to begin the lash lift service. So you're going to wet your hands at the sink and then get that coin size of liquid hand soap. You wash your hands together down to your wrists. You're going to wash the back of your hands down to your wrists. You're going to wash your fingers. You're going to wash the backs of your fingers. You're going to wash between your fingers and your thumb. You're going to wash those fingertips down, fingertips and nails, both sides. You'll wash your thumbs. You'll wash your wrists. All of that for a minimum of 20 to 30 seconds. Rinse your hands thoroughly underneath the water, and then grab some of those disposable paper towels or a clean towel to turn off the faucet. Dry your hands off, and if it's disposable paper towels, they go in the trash. If it's a clean towel, it's now dirty, and it goes in the closed container until laundry. And then you will find your hand sanitizer, 70% ethyl alcohol, and you can sanitize hands. Make sure your hands get nice and dry because you got to put your gloves on now, and that's very hard to do with wet hands. So we are just making sure that they are dry before we move forward. And when your gloves are on, you can start the service. And the first thing that you're going to do is remove her eye makeup. So let's get her eye makeup off. Take your time here if you need to. You can do it a couple times, whatever it requires. Sue here is very glamorous, so I'm going to take a minute to get it all off. Which is why she's here for a lash lift, because she's glamorous and she loves the glamorous things. Like me. Sue's my regular client. Her full name's Susan, but we call her Sue because we're good friends now. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is dry her thoroughly because she's a little damp with the makeup remover. So we're going to make sure she's dry before we go in to do anything else. Okay, great. So what we're going to do now is we are going to put on her eye pads. And in order for me to do that, I need to put on a little bit of that like petroleum jelly or that so the eye pad will stick. So I'm going to do that first. Underneath the eye. And we'll be placing her lower lashes as well. So you have to cover up the lower lashes because we are not lifting the lower lashes. So let's get the lower lashes down and the iPad, so it'll be all the way up, covering up those low lashes. Making sure you get those lower lashes covered. I'm going to see if I can't add just a little bit more of this over here if it won't stick it down. That might work. So it doesn't pop up every second. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. And then from there, I am going to measure my rods to make sure I have the right size for the lash lift for her. But I only have one really, but we're gonna measure it and see. Oh yeah, these are perfect for her. Yes, those are great. So we are going to place a small amount of glue on the back of the rod to keep the rod in place, and hold the rod for 5 to 10 seconds on the eyelid to ensure adhesion. So we're going to do that now. Unfortunately, these do not stay on her, but we're going to pretend like they do. So I'm going to hold this for 5 to 10 seconds, ensuring that it stays down, and then I'm just going to do my best to show you the rest. It won't really be glued down, but I'm going to have it laying there so you can see. So this side, I've applied a small amount of glue and sticking it down, and holding this side for 5 to 10 seconds as well, making sure it adheres. And so that's done. Now, what you're going to want to do now is that we're going to use a application brush, and we're going to apply our lash lift lotion. And we're going to apply it from the root of the lashes to about 3/4 of the way up the lash. we're gonna avoid the very, very ends of the lashes. But before we can do our lash lift lotion, we've got to get these lashes to stick to the rod. So we're gonna take a little bit of lash glue to the rod, and that we're going to take our time, and we're going to pull these using our little tool, pull our lashes, and then curl them back on the rod, and they will stick to the rod. So unfortunately, it will not, I'm gonna put a little bit of cholesterol on here just to pretend like I'm putting that glue on and see if maybe something will stick there for a second, but I know it won't just because the rod can't stick. So just so you know what I'm doing, it's just an example, but you can see that if it would stick, then I would be like, it sticks for like a second. See, there you go, it's sticking. I will be going like this to separate them and make it look fantastic. So I would be taking my time here. Obviously, nothing is sticking, but I don't have the proper material. So I'm just mocking this for you so you know what's happening. Combing the lashes on the rod. And then once it's there, separating it. And this just takes time. I would be working from that outer corner to the inner corner, making sure all of the things were sticking. The pad would not be moving like this. I would be doing this up, 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 up on the rod, combing it out, separating it, taking my time. So one side takes a while and the other side's gonna take a while. It's just the way that it is. And then of course completely separating it out on the rod. So making sure it's not going a crazy direction, not clumped and glued together funny. We've got to do all of that before we apply, on both sides, before we apply our lash lift lotion. And clearly it takes a minute, so we're just gonna pretend here that it's on the rod. And then I'm gonna go over to the other side. Better. Okay, now I'm going to go over to the other side. Whew, woo. That was laborious. All right, so I'm going to get a little bit of the lash glue and applying it to the rod. So of course I can then take my time to get the lashes to adhere to the rod, and that's where it's going to take some time. And you also want to separate them nicely once you do that. So it'll just take me a minute here to do all of this. And I would be working from this outer corner to the inner corner. And once again, I want to make sure that I am separating them beautifully, making sure they're all going in the right direction so it's not total chaos. Because that's how they're going to be they're going to be in that position when I put the lash lift lotion on. Wherever they are, that which is the next step, that's the way they're going to be. So I'm taking my time here to make sure that they look really, really good on the rod. And this just takes time, so you have to be willing to do it as long as it takes. That's going to make a happy client, and a happy client comes back. All right, so we're going to pretend like these are great and they're just as we want them to be on the rod on both sides. And then it'll be time to apply our lash lift lotion, and we would use an application brush for that, and we would also be following the instructions of the manufacturer as to how long it's going to stay on. So we're going to leave it on 5 to 10 minutes to process, depending on the strength of the lashes, and some lashes can process faster. So we're going to apply this from the base of the lash to 3/4 of the way up, not getting it on the tips. Or the skin or anywhere else around. Just gonna pretend like this is my applicator brush. Excuse me. And once I apply it, I might even use my lash lift tool again, just to once again go through and make sure I'm positioning those lashes exactly as I will then have them remain in positions and shapes that they're going to remain. So now we would let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes. I would set my timer. Well, we are making a video, so I am not going to set a timer. We're just going to move forward with our next steps. So the next steps, of course, would be to remove. So 5 to 10 minutes has passed. We're going to do dry, damp, dry. So we're going to take a little cotton and we're going to remove it dry. So we're going to take it off of both sides gently, because of course the lashes are, they've adhered to the rod. So you're just pressing gently to wipe with a dry. And then we're going to go in with a damp Q-tip and then dry it again. Because they're right now, really, they would be beautifully stuck to the rod, so it would be easy for you to wipe them off and then clean them damp with a damp Q-tip and then dry them again. So they wouldn't be like poking around like mine are right now, which is why I'm wiping back towards the rod, so you can see like they would be stuck to the rod and the rod would be stuck to the skin, so it would be easier for you to remove than it may look in the video. So then I'm going to take a damp Q-tip for the next one. Just to make sure I'm getting it all off before the next step. And then dry. Make sure it's nice and dry before we move forward. So the next step is the setting lotion. So we are going to apply that now with an applicator brush. I don't have one, so I'm going to use a clean new wooden Q-tip, Q-tip with a wooden stick. We are also same location for this, base of the lash, 3/4 up. Once again, lashes would be stuck to this rod, easy to apply and easy to stop before you, just be mindful because things move around. As I saw when we did this in class, mine got a little bit too far to the edge on my first try, and that will, the end of the lash is the weakest part of your lashes. It's this part that's getting ready to shed, so you do not want to over process it there. That's why we're not getting to the very, very end. All right, and that's on. So you're following your manufacturer's instructions with your setting lotion. So 5 minutes to process or less for thinner hair structure. So what we're gonna do is give this a little relaxed time. So we are gonna cover our client's eyes, not their nose, but their eyes. And obviously let them know that you're here, that this is just gonna take a few minutes. Let them rest and relax. And for the sake of the video, obviously we will not be setting a timer, but 5 minutes or less for the setting lotion. So we are processing, we are finished, our alarm has gone off. So I'm gonna come in with a light touch before I take off her iPad so she knows I'm here in case she fell asleep. And what we're gonna do is, at this point, we're gonna remove the setting lotion, and then we will remove the rods and the iPad. So what we're gonna do again is we're gonna do our dry, damp, damp, dry, dry. We're just gonna do, excuse me, dry and then damp. We don't have to do the whole process because we're getting ready to take everything off. So we are going to dry, remove first, and then we're gonna come in with those damp cotton rounds and warm water to help remove the product, and then a little remove from the rod as well. So when we go in now with our cotton round and water, as we're removing, you will see we're going to have our cotton round and water. We can take our iPad down and off, and you can either use that cotton round, or if you have like your little wet Q-tip nearby, that helps separate from the rod, and you'll be able to remove the rod from the client, and obviously can remove it. And then we're going to dry here in just a second. Let's go to our other side, and we're going to take our damp, 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 damp. Those iPads can easily come off as you gently, circularly wetting those lashes. It will come right off the rod, and you can then go back in and dry around for your client. And now we're going to take this mascara wand and comb. Okay. And she looks amazing. So I'm going to grab my mirror and present to the client and show her how fantastic she looks. And oh my gosh, she's in love with it. So we are ready to get her out the door. So what we're going to do is remove the headband and any extra linen that we might have. You can take your gloves off and throw them away. This is the point when you're going to get her to the front, and you're going to go take a minute to go over your maintenance. Any aftercare things that she needs to know about, like when she can wear makeup again, etc. How long not to get them wet, whatever that you're gonna, whatever you use, you're gonna go by your manufacturer's instructions on that. And then for however long it lasts, and then when you want to get her booked in for her follow-up to have it done again, because she's just in love with her lashes, as who wouldn't? Why wouldn't she be? So that's done. Now you've got another lash lift coming back to back, so you've got to get back to that room and you've got to get prepared. So what are you going to do? You are going to go back to your room and you are going to discard any single-use items, like those iPads, if you haven't already, any of those Q-tips or cotton rounds, just those little cups that you had, little individual things, and all that's in the trash. You will then need to disinfect and clean your workstation and prepare it for the next client. So what do? You're going to take all that linen and you're going, that's dirty, and you're going to put it into a closed container until time for laundry. You're going to take those implements you use, like the lash lifting tool and etc., and you're going to put them in a closed container labeled to be disinfected. You are going to identify a proper cleaning agent, read the manufacturer's directions, follow the manufacturer's directions for mixing and usage, wipe down your workstation, get it an area, get it with cleaning solution, and remove any debris. Identify disinfectant that is bactericidal, virucidal, and fungicidal, EPA approved for use in a salon setting. You would have to put gloves on at this point. Follow manufacturer's directions for mixing and or using appropriate aerosol disinfectant, and disinfect electrical equipment. Store it in a clean area separate from other implements. Then remove your gloves, toss them in the trash. Then you wash your hands. So you're going to wet your hands at the sink, washing them, wet them and get liquid hand soap. Wash the hands down to the wrist. You're going to wash the back of the hands down to the wrist. You're going to wash your fingers, backs of the fingers, between the fingers and the thumbs. You're going to wash those fingertips and nails. You're going to wash your thumbs. You're going to wash your wrist. You're going to do all of that for 20 to 30 seconds, rinsing it underneath the water properly. And then you're going to grab either a clean towel or disposable paper towels to turn the faucet off. Dry thoroughly. If it's disposable paper towels, throw it in the trash or put it in your dirty laundry. Otherwise, hand sanitizer, 70% ethyl alcohol. Get that part done And then you can go ahead and set up your next tray for your next client that's coming in, get the bed ready and all that stuff before they arrive. So you are done with this video of a lash lift.